Hi, everyone. I'm Sabine K. Bergman.
And I'm Savani Babu.
We're the co-founders of Hidden Compass, and we are joined today by writer Josh Zukas.
Hello.
Josh, we want to ask you about some kind of fun things for this segment. So I think the first thing, because we consider ourselves a brand for nerds, and so we want to know what you're a nerd about. What gets you excited? What intellectually gets you really excited, and what makes you want to dive down a rabbit hole?
Okay, well, this has nothing to do with Vietnam, but I'm a nerd about Greek mythology, probably.
Nice.
And that is the number one thing that will get me diving down a rabbit hole. But I guess that also kind of probably has a connection to storytelling, because that was my first introduction to stories when I was young.
Sure.
And also stories being told from different perspectives. And so there's lots of interesting things that are happening now, or in the past 10 years or so, when these stories are being retold from like a feminist perspective, for example, or from the perspective of the villain. So yeah, that's what I would say is Greek mythology, and then in particular like contemporary reinterpretations of those stories.
Ooh, I love that.
Wonderful.
So you have gotten to see a lot of incredible things in your life, just as an expat, but also as a writer who is searching for stories. And we want to know, and no pressure, because this is quite the question, but what's the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
Okay, so the most amazing thing I've ever seen is in Vietnam, and it's actually not too far from Hues. It's a cave north of Vietnam, north of Hues. So not many people know this, but Vietnam is home to the biggest cave in the world, and not many people know because it was only discovered about 10 years ago, a little over 10 years ago. And I was lucky enough to get to see it. I was on assignment there, and it is extraordinary. And it's the kind of cave, I mean, it's so big that it takes like 2 or 3 days to walk through. But what's also so amazing about it is that it has it's also so big that the ceiling has caved in some parts, which means that it's not ever pitch black in the cave. So although it's still considered a cave, in many ways, it's not what people think of when they think of a cave.
Hmm. You wrote a beautiful story for us about Vietnam and a particular town in Vietnam. What was the most rewarding part for you about working on that story?
That's a good question. I think that there were a few moments that were really rewarding for me, but probably the most rewarding was the most recent one. I've been working quite closely with the family to make sure that all of the facts are right and that the characterization is right. And they've seen the most recent version. And after I spoke to Tao, who's one of the characters in the story, and one of my main sources, she said that after reading it, she was brought to tears.
Wow.
And that was a really touching thing for her to say, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Wow. Well, it's an incredible story. And if you haven't read it, everyone watching, you should go and check it out in Compass.
Yes.
Maybe it will move you to tears.
And read the story, donate to the campaign, and check it out.
Thanks for joining us.